of building this platform. The more you guys share the videos and include us in the conversation that you're having, the better chance that we'll have of reaching the people who really need to hear this information. You can find us on just about every social media platform, uh, as well as YouTube. We have YouTube videos also up under the title Beating Cancer Today. However, the hub of for all the publication that we cite in these episodes on our videos, that could be found in our central location of our Facebook group page, Beating Cancer Today. So my all-time disclaimer is that I'm not a doctor and I have no medical training to speak of. I'm just a United States Marine who was diagnosed with stage 4 colorectal cancer. And despite all of the efforts of Western medicine and all of my options were exhausted. So uh, instead of giving up, when you exhaust all your options, instead of giving up and succumbing to hospice, I found a solution in repurposed medicine. And the solution consisted of 5 ingredients that I refer to as my cancer cocktail. Those ingredients are fenbendazole, cimetidine, AHCC, which is active hectose correlated compound, AHCC, curcumin, which is a pretty standard drug. People with cancer are pretty familiar with that, and natto, which is actually a breakdown. It's only a good portion of vitamin E. So that complements the fenbendazole. So those 5 ingredients is what I call my cancer cocktail: fenbendazole, cimetidine, AHCC, curcumin, and annatto. All of these ingredients were selected based on logic and clinical evidence that was published by a major cancer institution in the United States. So initially, when I decided to take this cocktail, I didn't base my decision on silence. I didn't really have the time to educate myself, right? So I based my decision on logic, and a logic that was based on published Western medicine science. Okay, I should say that. The logic that I based it on wasn't just on people's opinions. It was published Western medicine science. Those institutions who was publishing these studies, and the information that I based my logical decision on. I use published clinical evidence and as a form of logic that for forming my 5 ingredients in the cocktail. And I also base that on survivor testimony, other people taking similar cocktails or protocols, what they refer to, and they're having a positive trend, or they had already achieved NED status, no evidence of disease status. So I didn't get radical or all crazy. Basic when I decided to take this cocktail that I referred to. Nobody was trying to commit suicide or anything. This was it was just a desperate attempt to stay alive at the time. They sent me home to die. I exhausted all Western medicine options. So this was based on the information published by the same people that were giving me that I was being poisoned by. They were giving me the chemotherapies and stuff like that. So I based this information. I based this decision on the same information that those same doctors were getting published doing on the side. So when you consider things from that perspective, this is a very reasonable solution to a very curable disease. So you see, folks, there's a savage within each of us. An animal, it's an untamed spirit that refuses to succumb to defeat, that thrives on challenges. It gets off on that sort of thing. So It embodies the relentless uh, pursuit of success. You just gotta win, gotta win. It's the inner savage within you. It embodies a power of a winning mindset. It changes everything, the way you think, and it's rooted in resilience, determination, and unwavering commitment to never give up. So, once you get that mindset, life throws challenges our way, some daunting and seemingly insurmountable at times, right? But within us, it resides inside of us resides a unyielding force that refuses to be broken by circumstance. You just got to wake them up a little bit, because sometimes circumstance does beat you down a little bit. So there is a voice inside you that it refuses to be broken by circumstance. So you just got to wake them up, right? It's the voice that whispers, keep going, when everything seems it's falling apart. It's the fire that ignites the insides. I refer to it as the Holy Spirit, but it's more than that. It's not that there's more than that, but it is a flame. It's like a volcanic pressure building up, and hot magma is about to explode. It's the fire that ignites within you, driving us to push beyond our limits. Just when everything's telling you to quit, and everything's telling you to throw the towel in. It's what makes you persist when all the other people are going to surrender. So a winning mindset isn't just about achieving success. It's not just about whooping this monkey that's on your back, this disease. It's about embracing the journey. Embracing the journey, recognizing that setbacks can really be used just as stepping stones, and it is towards those stepping stones will build towards a greater achievement. It's about understanding that failure isn't a destination. It's not a destination. It's just where you pause for a second. It's a pause in the pursuit of our goals that are it's the end game. So it's just there's a different way of thinking, and if you program yourself to think that way, you know it's vital in your battle. So it's crucial to acknowledge that a winning mindset doesn't ignore pain or failure or adversity. It doesn't, we can't just pretend that stuff doesn't exist. Instead, it harnesses the experiences. It harnesses all of these experiences, using them as fuel to propel you forward. It's the ability to transform the obstacles into opportunities. See, we've talked about that in previous episodes. I don't have to go out and mow the lawn. I get to go out and mow the lawn. I have the opportunity this day. I can harness, it's my ability to transform all of these things, all of these taxing, dreadful obstacles into the opportunities to the opportunities, the hardships, into lessons. I transfer all those things into opportunities, all the negative things into opportunities, and all the hardships I transform into hardships into lessons. The hardships are turned into lessons learned, and the doubts into unwavering belief. A lot of people have doubts that this cocktail is going to work for them, and they're hesitant to pull the trigger. And then once they do, they're seeing that it's really not that big of an issue, and it doesn't conflict with anything. There's no side effects to anything. It doesn't really create an adverse effect in their life or anything really to speak of. It's just something else that you do now, and before you know it, you have some good trending going on. In the depths of our being, in the depths of our being, inside, there lives within us. It resides a relentless spirit that I was just talking about, and I don't want to lose sight of that. It's really that fire that is within you. It's an inner savage that knows no surrender. There is no quit. There's no give up. It's the embodiment of grit, resilience, unshakable determination. It's overwhelming. There's just no other options. It's an unshakable determination. It's a refusal to let the circumstance define my fate. Just because I get diagnosed with cancer, that doesn't mean anything. It's just something that it steers my path a little bit. Now I'm doing things differently. But it doesn't, just because I get diagnosed, that circumstance doesn't define my fate. Okay, it doesn't mean I'm going to die. It just means that now I got to get to work. Choosing instead instead of allowing it to believe that that's my path, now instead I'm thinking that no matter how rugged it is, it's how I'm going to carve my path. I'm going to steer this journey. So the power of a winning mindset lies not only in achieving the goals that you set forth, but the unrelenting pursuit that I mentioned of those goals, despite the odds. They'll hit you with a lot of statistics when you get sick. Those statistics are not based on you. They're based on a 100-year-old person or somebody without the same circumstances or whatever. Though, despite all those odds, your pursuit of the goals, regardless of what they say, the statistics say, it's about embracing the discomfort, pushing past it. I say a lot in different areas that I do in talks, which reminds me, don't forget about Warrior Wednesday, because we're going to circle back to that, right? But I do talk a lot about pushing past your discomfort. We discussed that in fasting, or we discussed that. It's broadening your boundaries and recognizing the true strength that true strength that comes out. It emerges in the moments of adversity. So and that's why intermittent fasting is great for you. Because just when you start to get hungry and you push past that hunger, that's when autophagy starts. And that's the cleaning out of all the garbage that your body shouldn't have in it. So adversity, pushing through that adversity, you got to remember that adversity doesn't build character. It reveals the character that's already inside of you. So dig down deep and find that character. And that is what's going to push you through this adversity. So let the inner savage within you roar. Let that inner savage roar within you and embrace the power of a winning mindset. Remember, folks, you got to change the way you think. Harness the determination that never gives up. The resilience that bounces back over and over again, better and stronger each time. The ability to conquer any challenge that presents itself to you. That's the strength that lies within you. Okay, so eh, trusting in a higher power can bring immense comfort, and it always gives me strength in challenging times. All right, in the Bible, there's many different verses that offer solace and encouragement. So, in the face of illness, when you're facing illness and adversity, and this verse is actually from Isaiah 41:10. I'll read it to you. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. This reminds us that even in the midst of fear and uncertainty, and we've talked in previous episodes that I'm not very good at my interpretation of scripture, but this does remind me of even like in the midst of any uncertainty. There's a higher presence that offering support, strength, and guidance. That's my North Star. That's my compass. That's this north heading on my compass. So changing the narrative that we talk about all the time, we change the narrative, altering the way that you perceive and interpret different events. Those circumstances that we talked about. So the events, the situations, the circumstances that we talked about, the challenges, different ways, different things that present themselves to you. It's how you have to change the way you interpret them, and that's how you steer the narrative. So your mindset, it's about shifting your mindset to focus on what you can control and influence rather than solely on external circumstances. It comes back to that being the coffee bean. Instead of allowing the circumstances to influence you, be a coffee bean and you influence the circumstances. So by changing the narrative, you aim to take control of your responses. So perspectives and actions, you're controlling all that stuff. It doesn't mean denying reality, but instead, like you're reframing the way you're doing it. It empowers you to shape the outcome of the situation. So you're controlling the narrative. Sorry, you're controlling the narrative so you can control the outcome, right? You're changing the narrative so you can control the outcome. Changing the narrative doesn't guarantee that you control all your outcomes, but it does empower you to influence your responses and attitudes and all your efforts, right? It changes the energy. So now you're influencing the way you react to these things. You're influencing all of these responses and attitudes and efforts, and everything that you're doing is influenced by how you're reacting. It's about taking charge of the story that you're telling yourself about your life. You're thereby shaping your experiences and outcomes in a more positive and proactive way. So you take charge of the story. Okay, I get diagnosed. Something bad's happening. Well, you know what? Let me take that and I'm going to run with it. There's different angles to pursue that will steer your narrative into a much more positive direction. And that is taking control of your own treatment plan, certainly. And that is also being your own advocate. Your mindset and how you control the narrative is such a vital part of your journey. I've actually heard cases where people were able to will will themselves into a healthier status. Manifestation is a real thing, people. It's a real thing. Also important is making sure that you continue working on your mobility so you can maintain a better quality of life while building back a better version of yourself. Remember, you got to stay vigilant. Even when you start feeling better, don't forget the times that you didn't feel so good. Stay vigilant. Make hay while the sun is shining. If you're feeling good, get out there and exercise. Build back a better version of yourself physically. Work on your core, work on your mobility. I poke fun sometimes at my overuse of the term motion creates emotion. But I want to point out, a matter of fact, even though that I say things, that it might sound catchy, there's a silence. I'm sorry, there's a science behind all of it. There's a science behind everything that I say. It may just sound like, oh, this is a cocktail or a cancer cocktail or motion creates emotion or change the narrative and control the outcome. All that stuff might sound catchy, but there is a little bit of a science behind the things that I say. Motion and emotion are intricately connected due to the way our bodies and minds interact. It's where our bodies and minds come together and they interact with each other. There's an intricate connection between the two. When we move physically, it triggers various physiological responses that can influence emotions and mood. So the reason why motion actually creates emotion, one, neurochemical responses. Physical movements such as exercise or even simple gestures, they simulate the release of neurotransmitters like endorphins and dopamine and serotonin, all those really awesome things that chemically are produced within your brain. The chemicals that are associated with feelings of happiness and pleasure, and it reduces stress. So the second reason is that the motion increases blood flow, which, I mean, there are obvious reasons, and the blood flow, oxygenation, it creates oxygenation and providing more energy to the body and the brain. So this surge in energy often translates into a more positive emotional state, fostering feelings and vitality of well-being. Like you get this surge of energy. It almost feels like it's not real, and I say that to people all the time. Engaging emotion is another thing. Engaging emotion, whether it's through exercise or expressive movement, or even simple gestures, it can have a notable impact on your emotions and overall mood. I mean, you saw earlier, like just a second ago, when I said something about gestures, and I went, that had a great impact on just the mood of things, right? So listen, you're not going to change your mindset until you're ready to change your mindset. And unfortunately, some people don't change their mindset soon enough in their battle. And it's a little bit hard to play catch up after a while. So what it comes down to is, how bad do you want to live? Too much? How bad do you want to live? That's what it really comes down to. The fight, think of it like this: being held underwater, right? That's terrible. I don't know how you all feel about that way. Burning and drowning are two ways that I just don't really want to die. I don't want to die ever, but The fight to capture your breath of oxygen while being held underwater, it's a primal struggle. I mean, honestly, it's just you're scraping and scratching against it's a struggle against the body's instinctual need of air as seconds stretch into an eternity. You're being held under the water, and 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 you're just the seconds are minutes, and minutes, it's an eternity. Your chest tightens up. You're pleading for oxygen. You're pleading for just one precious gulp of air, while your mind is racing, panicking to overwhelm reason. Right? You're trying to you're trying to your brain is trying to trick reason into thinking differently. Like you're not going to die if you don't get more air. The initial moments are it's a frantic battle against the water's suffocating embrace. I mean, truly, it's just that water's got a hold of you there at that point. Every muscle strains, and the limits thrash. A desperate attempt. A desperate attempt. Because that's what it comes down to. Desperation. You have a desperate attempt to break the surface as you're being held down. Break free from the weight that's dragging your body deeper and deeper and deeper. The urgency intensifies as the body's survival instinct screams. We all have these instincts inside of us. It doesn't really matter if you're raised a little softer than others. It doesn't matter. Inside of us, there's a survival instinct. And in this case, when you're being held underwater, that instinct is screaming for any type of relief. Man, I just the thoughts fragment into survival instincts at that point, and it's urging for you to push back against the water. Just looking for that pocket of air that you really need. The world narrows in one singular quest for oxygen. When you can't breathe, and that's the only thing you can do, everything in your world narrows in that one single quest of oxygen. In a struggle against the relentless force of the water, the mindset oscillates between fear and determination, and fear and determination. Fear threatens to paralyze you, while your determination fuels the fire. It fuels the fire that gives you the life that is needed to get through this. All your body senses start to heighten, every nerve electrified by the dire need of oxygen. Starving your body of things, it creates your body to grow into survival mode. That's why intermittent fasting is really just beneficial. So the need for oxygen when you're being held underwater it's a desperate need, and just when your body feels it can not, no more, you can't take another second of it, a moment of clarity emerges. It's a pause. It's kind of a pause, a brief calm amidst all the chaos and struggle, the thrashing about, you trying to get more oxygen, where the mind focuses, unwavering determination. You have more determination to get that last surge of strength that propels the body upward, breaking the water surface at last. That's like a crazy strength all of a sudden, a crazy energy that emerges uh, with the gasp of that sweet, sweet oxygen. When you finally get it, it floods your starved lungs, a rush of relief because it's filling your lungs with life itself, really. The body trembles and the heart races and the mind reels in gratitude for the precious breath that sustains your existence just for one more second. The fight for that breath, the struggle against drowning. Oh, it's a harrowing battle. It's a terrible, terrible battle, and that's a panic. A reminder of the fragility of life. I mean, if you don't know how fragile life is, you haven't been diagnosed with cancer. So, the fragility of life, the unyielding will to survive against all odds. That's what that fight for breath is. It's it's the unyielding will to fight against all odds. That last surge of energy that you get, don't waste it. The will to survive and conquer things, it's an extraordinary force that resides within the depths of every individual. It's the innate determination and endure that I was telling you about, that savage will to survive, to overcome things. It, it's it's the it's the well, it's that halftime football speech, the go get 'em. It's that little voice that's inside your head. It's it's what in the innate determination to to win, to beat this battle, to beat this cancer, to conquer adversity, and to emerge stronger on the other side. That's a big deal. So at its core, the will to survive is an unyielding, it's absolutely unyielding spirit. So it's a flame that it's flickering even in the darkest of times. It's still inside of you. It's still inside of you, and it's still flickering. You might not see it. It might be in the shadows, but it's still there. Despite all those challenges, there a path does exist to move forward. A path that exists. It demands resilience, courage, unwavering resolve. You have to be obsessed. This will manifest itself in moments of crisis. This will all come back to surface in moments of crisis if you train yourself this way. When the world seems to conspire against you, throwing diseases at you and COVID stuff at you and cancer stuff at you and all the related side effect stuff at you and all this stuff. This is going to help you push through it. This mindset change is going to help you push through it. It's the refusal to succumb to defeat. I don't accept the statistics. I don't. I don't. I don't believe the doctors, just like they don't believe me. So I I refuse to listen to the statistics. I refuse to be defined by the limitations that they set for me based on statistics or whatever, or to accept the status quo. I need to be progressing. I'm not okay with status quo. I'm always building back better. This will instantly change everything. Everything the way you look at things. This mindset will change everything. I mean, the mindset, it's a will. The will isn't merely a passive hope for survival. I mean, it is a hope for survival, but it's not just a passive hope for survival. It's an active pursuit, a battle cry that echoes throughout all of your struggles, a battle cry. In the Marine Corps, we call that a battle cry. Let me hear your battle cry. It's the decision to stand up, stand tall when adversity is knocking on your door, to adapt and learn and evolve, roll with it. You're going to get curveballs thrown at you. Roll with it. It's the understanding that every setback is an opportunity for growth. Every failure is a lesson learned. You guys are going to get some curveballs thrown at you. Keep it coming. To conquer is not necessarily to completely vanquish. I'll say it again. To conquer is not necessarily meaning to completely vanquish. Excuse me. So, I mean, I don't have to vanquish this disease all at once, right? But I transcend the limitations imposed by the circumstances. So the limitations is saying that I can't beat this cancer. Well, you know what? I'm just going to chop at the knees a little bit. I'm going to chip away, chip away, chip away. I'm going to be vigilant and I'm going to stay disciplined in my cocktail because the science backs it. I know it works. It's worked for tens of thousands of other people. So the will to survive and conquer is a testament to the resilience and the strength that resides within all of you. So all of us have this strength inside of us. It's a beacon of hope that guides us all through the darkest of times. A reminder that within all of us, in our souls, lies an inexhaustible reservoir of courage just waiting to be tapped into. It's just waiting to be unleashed. It's the recognition that amidst all of these life's trials that we're facing, our capacity to rise, to strive, and to conquer, that's limitless. Changing the narrative to influence the outcome of a situation involves a strategic shift in perspective and communication. Here's some steps that you could probably take. You got to identify the narrative first before you do anything. See what's going on, and look at the writing on the wall. And then, if you then decide that you disagree with that narrative, then you have to think about what you would rather the narrative be. So I don't. The narrative is that I got cancer, and The outcome is that I don't want cancer, so that's my desired outcome. And then I reframe it. I reframe it. I reframe the narrative, and I change it. I change the storyline, so to speak. Yeah, and the storyline that it aligns, it always aligns with what I want to see happen, what I want the outcome to be. Highlight the different aspect of the different situations that support this the new narrative. I always try to motivate myself. I use compelling and positive language, to convey what I want to see happen, right? And I make sure that I own it. I communicate all of these desires that I want the narrative to change into. I own it. And I say, listen, these are the stakes, and this is what I'm doing, and I own this. And because I made the decision in an intelligent way, in an educated way, I can offer counter arguments, I guess you could say, because I'm living proof that what you told me was good wasn't good. So I'm living proof of that. So, and now I lead by example. I lead by example, and I continue to build back a better version of myself. My feet will be held to the fire, that I continue to do a routine. I continue to go through all of my self-care, and I'm disciplined and vigilant in my protocol. And I just continue to battle. I continue to build a warrior. So now I'm leading by example. Remember, changing the narrative to influence the outcome, it requires your patience. It requires persistence and a strategic approach of effectively shaping what you want to become a reality. It's kind of like a mind warp, I guess you could say, but it definitely does change the situation and steers it into a more favorable narrative. And I think that you can actually manifest things to swing in your direction. All right, folks, listen, we're already too late. Please follow, like, and share this message and all these videos. Please, please, please do that. A reminder about Warrior Wednesday in the studio that we should be wrapping up this week. So that studio should hopefully, if you check out our background, we've already started making some changes, but now we're in a different setting. So we are in a studio setting now, and I wish I could turn all that stuff around so you can see the equipment. But anyway, it's building out, and you'll see that some of the sound might sound a little bit different, and we're working on things anyway. So here are your wow. Sorry for that. Here are those ingredients for my cancer cocktail again. If you missed it before, those ingredients are fenbendazole, samidinine, active hexose correlated compound, AHCC, curcumin, and annatto. Annatto. Stay disciplined, keep grinding, and always be vigilant. Always, always, always be vigilant. And above all, fight like a warrior.